Hi guys, once again, my name is Joe Tran. I'm one of the ARIA Board of Directors, and I'd like to welcome you to our ARIA PDX social media / AI event. We have a powerhouse of panelists here in front of us. We have Benson Bowie, crazy killer on IG. All the luxury listings is this guy, man. He's number one. Mr. One and Only, Michael Hudson with Praise Media, CEO, founder. We actually, between Tony and I, our group, we call it Taj, Move with Tony and Joe. We actually utilize Michael for all of our social media. So my secret hack for all social media is this guy, the brains, the power, the energy. Last but not least, we have Nguyen from Seattle, Washington. So when I was doing pharmacy, I really looked up to Ty with real estate. So she's from Seattle. Prior life was also clinical background as me. She was a nurse and then decided to go full on real estate. And she is a shark. She's actually my wife's cousin. So we're kind of related in that type of sense. I just like to say that because she's super cool. But she just finished a panel up in Seattle. Finished that one, hopped on a plane, flew down. I had to pick her up to join us at our panel today. So thank you for graciously coming down today. All right, with a show of hands, how many of you currently utilize social media in your business? Instagram, Facebook. So good, 75% of us, right? Okay, how about using AI? Maybe ChatGPT, Canva, CapCut. Okay, so it looks like the vast majority of us do have some type of social media / AI. So just from my experience, so I've been a full-time realtor for about 2 years. Prior to that, I was doing pharmacy, and I was trying to find my niche and find my spot in real estate. And it wasn't until I really integrated social media and AI into my Instagram and Facebook was when business really started calling. Just last week, actually, one of my high school buddies, 20 years ago, we haven't said a single word at all. And he was like, hey, Joe, you know, my wife and I are looking to buy a house. We've seen all of your Instagram stuff. So right that minute, you dominate the industry, you establish confidence, and they literally just call you up and says, I want to buy a house with you, no questions. We're pending now as of last week. So it's working. It really does work. And I'm glad to say we have such great panelists here today to share their experience as well utilizing social media and AI. So I hope we learned a lot from tonight's discussion. At the end of our discussion, we're also going to have a little bit of a QA. And I'd love to hear from you folks as well, what tools you're using in order to help improve your business with social media, AI, if you're using Canva, CapCut, any types of strategies that you're using to help boost your business. All right, so I have a series of questions that we're gonna ask the panelists, and I have a second mic. Let me see here. And the way I'm doing this is I have a series of questions, and I think it's probably best just to run down each person with each question and how you guys will answer that question. So, test. There's Mr. Benson. Okay, so we're gonna try and stay on schedule here. So each question about 3 to 5 minutes per panelist, and we'll just move on from there. All right. So first question I have for Mr. Benson. What inspired you to start using AI in your real estate business, and how has AI changed the way you manage your tasks or schedule? I know it's two different questions, but.
So yeah, the reason why I use AI was because when ChatGPT first came out, like it was new to everyone and there were so many tools to it. And when I kind of dove into it, I realized like all the stuff that I'm doing in my regular real estate business, I could use ChatGPT to cut the time in half. Like for example, all the times that I used to come up with like what videos should I make? What ideas do I make? Like with ChatGPT, it makes it so much easier. You can get all these ideas so that instead of always trying to come up with ideas, I can just execute them. And another thing I like to use ChatGPT for is for like, for example, like listing descriptions. You guys all know like listing descriptions are like one of the hardest things. It could take you like hours, minutes, whatever. But with ChatGPT, like it makes it so much easier. And that's why I was like, if I can utilize this tool so that, you know, I can spend less time doing admin work, doing things that, you know, don't really generate me the business, and spend my time, generating the business, I felt like that's the reason why I want to lean into it. And just seeing like other people in the industry use it to their advantage, I felt like if I'm not going to use AI, I'm either going to be left behind. So that's why I decided to, use it to grow my business.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. For me, it's cut my time in front of the computer by like at least half, for sure. Yep. Every listing description, every email, somehow, way, shape, or form has had AI touch it. I feel like.
And I feel like for AI, you don't want to like solely rely on it because you can kind of tell when a listing description is straight from ChatGPT. Right. So you want to use it to your advantage so you can, get the framework, kind of get the idea. But at the end of the day, you still want to be personable. You still want to, you're the agent at the end of the day. So you want to, put your words and ideas into it.
Exactly. It's not perfect. So, I'm always double checking my work with ChatGPT, making sure that it's coming up with the right listing description, it's accurate.
Yes.
But yes, I do use it for a great deal. Same with you as well. So, great. Cool. Good answer. Mr. Michael Hudson. So the question again, what inspired you to start using AI, and how has AI changed the way you manage your daily tasks or schedule?
Yeah, so for me, I've been active in social media since like basically 2018. Done Praise Media for 3 years now. And for the longest time, I was against AI. I was like, no. I was like, dude, no. I'm going to do everything analog, do everything manual. And then I found out real quick that it just takes a crap load of time. Like, it's just not worth it. And just harnessing the power of AI has just helped immensely, like, especially with the clients that we work with. We can definitely go into like more tactics later, but the biggest thing is that it could just help with every part of the content creation process, from coming up with ideas to scripting it, to editing, to posting. One day it's going to be able to help film you as well, to be able to create avatars of yourself to relate the content. But it's just been such a huge tool. And just like what Benson was saying before, it just cuts time in half. And even for like my video agency, doing marketing, doing outreach, just utilizing the different AI tools that are out there has just made business so much more seamless. And it's just helped me to just be able to focus on other high-level tasks as well.
Awesome. I've always been curious how you run your behind the scenes. And like, I get these Excel spreadsheets, every time I go shooting with Michael, it's literally, he sends out an Excel spreadsheet with a whole bunch of different ideas. And I'm like, gosh, I wonder how much of this is actually AI, but it's so good. It's so authentic, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like that's just part of our researching that we do. AI is just one of the core things that we use. We also look at like what's trending out there, other inspirations and things like that. But yeah, the spreadsheets get a little crazy sometimes.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay, Ty, do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I just had a drink.
The question is, what inspired you to start using AI in your real estate business, and how has AI transformed the way you manage your tasks and schedule?
Okay, so I also shoot video with Michael. I am his day one, okay? I'm just make that clear. I'm his day one. So whenever I speak to a client and they have a question, I'm like, oh, they have a question. I'm gonna write it down in my notes. And so I write down my notes, and then before I go shoot with Michael, I say, give me the stats and the information on this. For example, my client wanted to put some fence up in their house, and they didn't know where their lot line was. And so they're like, Ty, where's my lot line? I'm like, well, you gotta go get a survey. They're like, what does that mean? So that triggers, every time I have a client that asks me a question, I write it down in my notes. And then when I go shoot with Michael, I grab that note and I put it in ChatGPT, and I was like, okay, tell me the process of getting a survey done and how much does average cost and all this stuff. And then ChatGPT would give me a list of all that information. And then we shot it. It was like one of my best videos.
That's great, yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that was a good idea, because a lot of people ask the same question. So I always think about the consumer at the end and then provide the information for them through the video. And it just lives there. So when my client have a question, they're like, Ty, I need a survey or whatever. And I was like, go watch my video. Then they'll see everything else. So I use that for that. The second one is I'm growing my team, and I have templates for everything. And so I use Gemini. Do you guys, have you guys gone through Google and there's like that little magic wand on there? So I create an email of everything they need to know to onboard the team. And it's like 20 paragraphs. And I use it as a template. I save it as a template. And every time someone wants to join my team, I just like, whoop, change their name. There you go. So I have now, over the course of, I think, 2.5 years that I've been doing it, I think I have like 120 templates. I have a template for everything. And it really takes like 2 minutes to get a template out. And so I use AI for that.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure you guys caught that. Like literally the drive over from the airport to here, she was telling me kind of what she's doing behind the scenes with her clients. She literally has 120 different templates. She puts it in Gemini and she just changes the name of the client and it automatically spits out that email. Everything from buyer consultation, inspection, appraisal, every step of the way, she's got it dialed down. So making things super efficient.
You guys speak like really close to
Into the mic.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. The next question I have is, which AI apps or tools do you use the most and how have they impacted your business?
So I know AI can get a little overwhelming. There's like so many tools out there and, you know, there's just so much things with AI. And to be honest, I like to keep things real simple. Like I don't like to overdo things. So the only tool I really use is ChatGPT and I don't really overdo it. I feel like with everything that's going on right now with AI, what people really like is authenticity.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, that's kind of the approach I'm using. That's kind of the approach I'm going with for social media. So yeah, ChatGPT is the only tool that I use. There's a lot of tools out there, but I'm more focused on just ChatGPT.
Yeah, definitely.
Same question.
All right.
Okay.
Yep, same question.
Okay. Yeah, so there's 3 that we use quite a bit. In addition to ChatGPT, we also use something called Opus Clip. So that's a really good tool, especially if you do a lot of long form content for YouTube. So say you have a podcast, say that you have like you're doing a walkthrough of a property, or it's more of like a long form. This AI will spit out basically tons of short form clips. It's still like we're still kind of in the early stages, so you definitely have to do some like quality checks, make sure it's like good to go. But for the most part, it's going to be able to clip a long form clip in a matter of 5 minutes. So we actually do that quite a bit, like when Ty speaks on a lot of panels, when Joe speaks as well, or when you did like the podcast and things like that. So we would basically use that to pick out some gems from those clips. Obviously, we'll go through it manually as well to find some gems, but we'll use Opus Clip as well. And then also for scheduling for social media posts, Metricool, that's a great AI tool as well because it tracks, it picks up pretty detailed analytics for each platform. And it's just great to schedule out your posts for all the platforms, essentially.
And then Michael, for that scheduling tool, is that like a free app that you can use or is that like a paid subscription?
It's both. So obviously for the free version, you're a little limited, but there's also like paid subscriptions as well that gives you more features.
That's solid. Before I had Michael, I would literally look, I'd Google what's the best time to schedule your posts and it'd be like, okay, 6 p.m. I got to be ready. And I found out that Instagram actually had a feature where you can actually schedule it. But now with an app, you can do this all automatically, which is
all the platforms, yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. All right, guys.
My AI is Michael. Because every time he posts stuff, he responds to all my friends. I'm like, oh, thank you for responding to everybody. Because I don't have time.
I want that package. That's the package I need from Michael.
Oh, he doesn't get that? Oh, he's got to be tied to win.
You're day one, that's why.
Sorry, you got to be tied to win.
That's the M1.
F1, yeah. I have 3 kids, okay? I need my sleep. I have 3 kids. They're busy. I'm busy. I run a team of 61 agents. I'm super busy. And so I love it when he posts something and then he just responds to everybody. I'm like, oh, yes. And then I'll add to it too. Like I'll say a second thing about it. So he actually is my AI. And like I said, Gemini is my other best BFF that I don't pay. She's like my BFF. She answers all my emails. So every time I go to a listing appointment and I come back and they're like, Ty, when should I list the property? Is this a good time to list? And I'll go into Gemini and I'll click on that little wand and I'll write down all their question. I'll copy and paste their question and I'll say respond to her question and then I'll put parentheses what's the statistics for Renton, Washington? What's the statistic for Bellevue, Washington? And it will just fill in those blanks. And it'll bullet point everything, because I like a bullet point. I'm kind of a checklist kind of person. A bullet point, I'm very analytical. So when it spits out all that, and then I'll just go in and brush it up. And it just looks beautiful, like no grammar. Like, I'm super bad with past tense, present tense, grammar, not good at all. But it does all that for you. So I love that. And like I said, the templates that I have, if you're not using the templates inside your Google, you're wasting so much time re-emailing the same damn thing over and over again. Make a template of all of your inspection. This is why you need to do an inspection. This is why you should do a pre-inspection. And write it in, save it as a template. So when your client's like, Ty, why should I pay for pre-inspection? You already have it. Send it out, change the name. You're done in 2 seconds. Right? You're supposed to save time, and that's what, I mean, Google, Gmail is so beautiful if you know how to use it right, right? So I would say those things really changed my life. And then the other thing that I do is I use Fiverr. Who uses Fiverr? Okay, Fiverr's my best friend. They're like in India for $2 an hour. So a lot of times my clients who want to do virtual staging, right? And my photographer would charge me $40 per picture for virtual staging, right? Your photographer usually like charges you $40 for virtual staging per picture. I go Fiverr and it's like $10 for 10, $1 each. And so when they're cheap about it and they don't want a full staging, I'll go in and I'll use my photographer's picture and I'll tell them to virtual stage it, and then I'll load it on my listing. So, save you guys a lot of money.
That's some really, really good tips. I really, really like those. Those are good ones.
Right there.
Yeah, for sure. Dropping some gems.
Somebody's getting fired later today.
And I want to touch on that a little bit, actually. Like ChatGPT, I don't know if you guys have tried, but like the imaging editor is actually really cool. Like if you have a house that is just a room and you want to virtual stage it, you can ask ChatGPT to stage it, and it's pretty good. Tried it for a few of my listings. And then another thing too is, you guys know how I have a lot of like supercars in front of my listings. I'm actually gonna try to have ChatGPT edit a supercar, so I'll let you guys know how that works out.
Just give me a call. We actually have a new marketing toy that we would love to park in front of your house too. So.
I tried it and it made me look funny. I didn't even look like myself.
Yeah, so on an extension of that too, ChatGPT has different extensions that you can utilize. I started playing with this about 2 weeks ago. Canva has a built-in ChatGPT extension. Sora AI, if you guys have heard of that, SORA. I've been able to utilize a lot of like little short 5 or 10-second clips for like a lot of my reels. So I'll put a prompt to say, have a realtor walk through a luxury condo with Mount Hood in the background and a luxury car driving past it. And it really spits out some really, really quality gems. And then you just literally put a description in front of it, just like, we're a new realtor, in the town or however, but it does some very, very magical things. It still blows me away, but they're just great tools instead of, paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for somebody to do it. Not saying Michael does crazy work, but it's just so crazy the amount of speed and like how realistic some of these new reels are coming out. A lot of them are just pretty much AI, so pretty cool.
So Michael, are you responding to my people or is AI responding to my people?
A little bit of both.
Oh, get out of the bag. Okay, next question. What advice would you give to a new agent just starting to build their brand online? I know we have a couple of new agents in here, and I think this piece would really resonate with them. So Benson?
So my advice for a new agent would be, don't overthink it too much about social media. I feel like when you first start out with social media, there can be so many ideas. Like you're swiping through and there are tons of ideas. You can kind of get overwhelmed. I feel like when you first started, you shouldn't niche yourself into one specific niche. You kind of want to figure out, what's your favorite topic. Like when I first started out posting, I like lifestyle, I like real estate, I like traveling. So those are kind of my buckets that I like to post about. And the more and more you post, the more you realize, oh, this is what I like to do. This is my style. But if you never start posting, you'll never know what your style is. And I feel like with social media, it's just a matter of, you know, taking that action. And you guys don't have, just keep it simple. Like, it doesn't have to be a crazy edited video. It could be something that's super simple. As long as you're putting the reps and you're doing, and you're growing your social media, I feel like that's the most important thing.
I agree 100%. And if you follow my social media, right, I have real estate content, but I think it's also very important that clients understand who you are. Not that you're just a real estate agent. If you look at my Instagram stories, I'm walking my dog at the beach, I'm driving, cruising, I'm going snowboarding. They want to build trust and rapport with you. So if you're only focusing on real estate, it's kind of just giving one dimension of you, but each person has their own values, their traits, their characters. What are those things that define you? What does your buyer look like, and how do they resonate with you in that type of sense? So, I mean, Michael has all the time where I'm posting stuff about, cars and, my dog, and, went to Coachella last weekend. So I posted about Coachella, and a lot of our conversations is, oh, we went to Coachella last weekend. How was it? And that's how you develop trust and rapport with your clients. So I agree 100%. We're posting everything.
Yeah. So I feel the reason why I do social media is to build good relationships, start conversations. And at the end of the day, I want someone that doesn't know me to really just by looking at my social media, they feel like they already know me. So that's the whole reason why I do social media.
Awesome. Thank you, Benson.
Cool. Same.
Yeah. So the question again, advice to a new agent starting to build their brand name.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few new agents we work with as well. I think the most important thing is to figure out who you're trying to attract with your content. I think a big mistake that a lot of creators fall into is they have no idea why they're doing content and then who they're speaking to. So is it going to be a buyer? Is it going to be a seller? Is it going to be an investor? Is it going to be someone in tech that you're trying to speak to, maybe a prior experience in that industry? The more clear you are on who you're speaking to, the funner and the more easier it's going to be to shoot content and press record. Because a lot of people, they're stuck in the analysis paralysis, right? And so they just end up not doing it, or they get frustrated after 10 days of shooting and they just quit altogether, and they post one video and then they take 6 months off and then they post another video. It's just, once you have a clear roadmap, that'll help you to move forward. And the easiest way to do that, if you're still confused on who to speak to, is to put yourself in the shoes of the total beginner. What questions would they have? What commonly questions would they have? And at the same time, what Benson was saying is sharing more about your personal stuff as well, your interests, your hobbies. For me, I'm a huge golfer. I love playing golf, so I'll share that. I love working out. One of my business partners here, Connor, he says it all the time. You're real estate right? So it's you're a realtor, or you're a wholesaler, or you're an investor or a mortgage broker, and then what else is a part of you? Because that's going to be the true connection that you're going to make with all the clients or prospects that you encounter and watch your videos.
Something I had a question about, Michael, because I follow his Instagram religiously, and every day for the last 2 months, at 5:30 in the morning, he's dunking his face in this ice bath.
Dude.
What's the story with that?
Dude, so, no, it's funny because he just actually popped off, recently. His name's Ashton Hall. Is a fitness influencer dude. And so I saw him, months ago, doing it. And I was I'm going to try it. Let's just see what happens. And I started doing it. And then, coincidentally, everybody just started reposting his videos. And he grew, he gained, 3 million followers in, 24 hours. It was something crazy. So yeah, but it's helped a lot. Got rid of a lot of my wrinkles and stuff, and I'm really 75 years old. So.
So I noticed the ice bucket challenge is actually coming back. I've noticed that on my reels again. So are you going to be ready for that when I nominate you to do the ice bucket challenge whenever I get the nomination?
I'm ready. I'm prepped and ready to go.
Thank you, Michael.
It also helps with hangovers, just so you know. Just stay true to who you are. I think not being afraid to be who you are. Don't second guess yourself. You are beautiful, you're amazing, you are who you are. There's only one you, right? Dr. Seuss, who read that? There's only one you, right? And stay true to who you are. And so people follow me because, every morning I wake up at 5 and I pack my kids' lunch. I have 3 of them, not just one. I have 3 of them. And so every morning I wake up and you guys will see me packing my kids their lunch. And I'll make them masubi, I'll make them fried rice, I'll make them this amazing lunch because it comes from my heart. And all the moms will follow me. And I just stay true to who I am. And one time I remember I was recording my daughter riding her bike in the cul-de-sac. And my friend kept hearting like, oh, that's so cute, that's so cute. And then a week later, she calls me and she's like, Ty, the house you sold me last year is on a hill and I want a cul-de-sac like you. I want my kids to ride their bike like you. And I was like, okay, so what do you want to do? She's like, I want to sell my house and I want to buy a house in a cul-de-sac. That landed me a $2.3 million deal, right? I had to sell her house for $9 million and then she had to buy something else, upgrade in a cul-de-sac. And that came from me. And I was so happy for her and her kids. And now they're biking in the cul-de-sac, right? So those are my people. Find your people. I don't know anything about cars, so don't ever ask me about cars. Call Joe, okay? So just stay true to who you are. You're beautiful who you are. Just follow your heart. And don't be afraid of people judging you. Who the fuck cares? Who cares? They're not going to the grave with you. They're not paying your bills. I was like, unless you pay my bills, then I care. Okay? But if you're not paying my bills, I don't care.
No.
So be true to who you are, be confident, and really be around people who's going to help you radiate who you are, who support you. Because this business is hard. I've been in it for 22 years. There's some bad days and there's some good days. So surround yourself with good people because proximity is power.
Awesome. So many words of wisdom here. And I really can't agree more. As a new agent, as a new lender, as a new insurance agent, I think there's so many of these people in the arena. What makes you stand out the most? Everybody's unique in their own way. Ty's a beautiful mother of 3. Michael's doing his thing with his dog and ducking his face in, ice cold bath all the time. I always see Benson in his awesome listings and he's out having a good time too. And I think it's very important that everybody realizes your audience, whoever they resonate with the most is where they're going to attract. That's where they're going to go. So definitely keep that in mind. I think like for me personally, I haven't done a single cold call. As a realtor, you're supposed to do cold calls. I haven't done a single cold call in my life. Thank you, Johnny, for doing the cold calls. But I think what's important is you're establishing dominance out in the community, right? When I post on social media and people comment on my reels or comment on my stories, eventually that leads to a sale. I think 8 out of 10 of my clients are all from social media, just based off my social media alone. So that is a huge value drop. And I think everybody needs to incorporate somehow, somewhere, social media or AI in their business.
Joe, I'm always waiting for that wink.
I actually, like, when I first thought, like, we were putting together this this event tonight, I actually had I had a presentation ready to go, and of course I used, Canva AI to generate for me. But I screenshotted every single message, either iMessage or on my Facebook, of how many people said, Joe, you didn't wink in this story. We've been waiting for you to wink in this story. And it's that signature. People watch from A to Z your reels and they wait for that wink. So have a signature, I don't care what it is, a smile, a laugh, a whatever it is. They will watch till the very end until you crack that. So whatever information you have, it's very valuable. Just that one little signature wink. Thank you, Ty.
Love it.
Okay, next question for Mr. Benson. If someone has only 2 hours a week for social media, how should they spend that time?
If you only had 2 hours a week for social media, my advice to spend that time is to pick one style and just rock with it. Because you guys probably seen on TikTok, some of the weirdest pages has the most views and followers, and they're doing the same thing every single day. So I feel like if you don't have much time to do social media, just pick a style. Like, is it just house videos or is it just, talking points? And just keep that same style, be consistent. And I think that would really go a long way.
Cool. Good answer. Awesome.
To add to that, I would say, you decide which path you want to go. You want to do long form content, which is like YouTube, or do you want to do shorts content, or you want to do both? And then I would dedicate those 2 hours to just batch shooting content. Like try and pump out like 10 to 20 short forms or like 2 to 5 long forms in that 2 hours. Again, the more clear you are like on the purpose of the video and who you're trying to reach with that video, the better results you're going to get.
So I have a strategy for my Instagram and my stories every day. So I do a 4 and a 2. Because I don't want to bombard them with too much real estate because it's kind of boring. I want to oversell myself. So I do like 4 family, personal, and then I'll do 2 real estate. I do a 4 and a 2 and a 4 and a 2 and a 4 and a 2. If you watch my pattern, it's a 4 and a 2 and a 4 and a 2. So I'm making breakfast for the kids. I'm then showing a house. And then I'll post just listed, just sold, pending, or something like that. And then I'll talk to you about my feelings or like what roadblocks I'm going through, shit I'm doing, like just random stuff. But it's just a 4 and a 2 because you don't want to just hit them with all these beautiful collateral. Who here is like, everything has to be beautiful. Everything has to match.
100%.
No, who cares?
100%.
Who cares? So I'm just like really raw. I'm just like, I just throw it out there. And if you see my Facebook, my Instagram, that's who you really get to see. I don't want to come to see you and like, you don't match your Instagram. I've seen that where I see you and I'm like, you're not the same person. It's kind of weird, then I don't want to work with you. So if you see me on Instagram and Facebook, you see who I am. Like I'm 100% me. And the other way I get people is I do TikTok and then TikTok people flow into my Instagram. And then they go into my Facebook. So my boring people are on Facebook, my somewhat fun people are on Instagram, and then my crazy people are on TikTok. So I feel like I could go crazy on TikTok and no one cares. And so I kind of go crazy on TikTok. And I do TikTok live now. And I got like...
Are you doing like dances and stuff?
No, like I will go watch shows and I'll just live stream the show and I'll get like hearts and I'll get like presents and stuff. I'll get tokens.
Oh, you get paid for that?
Yeah.
You get paid for your
I'm
social
starting
media?
getting money in TikTok now. So it's kind of cool. And then they follow me and then I'll share it onto my my Instagram and then they'll start bleeding over.
That sounds almost like Only Talks or something. Only Thai. We talked about this. Only Thai in the car.
Only Thai fans. Only Thai. We're gonna start an Only Thai page.
That's fun.
So that's how I spend my 2 hours. And yeah, so I don't really think about 2 hours. I just think about like my lifestyle and people follow me because I want to stay top of mind. That's about it. And when I do a luxury listing, I'll blow the F up on it. Like I'll do catering, Michael will do his video, and then what I do is I invite every single real estate agent and tell them I have cocktails.
I saw that. I just saw your most recent reel. You did like, of course I'm a realtor. I'm gonna turn every open house into a happy hour. Yeah. I got a lot of views. I got a ton of views.
Yeah, and then like I'm a realtor. Of course I'm gonna open the door with heels. It was really fun, and then it was cool because I had like 15 real estate agents from 15 different brokerage doing the thing with me, the reel with me, and then they all shared it. And so I had like 15 people sharing the reel. It was so fun. It's like, because a lot of them don't have the budget to do all that. So
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, going back to Ty's comment about analysis paralysis, I think it comes from my detail-oriented mindset where everything has to be perfect before I send it out. So for all of my Facebook and Instagram followers, how many of you seen my Instagram reel at Coachella?
I've seen it.
So pretty good number of you, right? So that took me 2 hours to put together.
Wow.
2 hours. I was on the plane, cropped the videos. I used AI in order to clean it up a little bit. I had the beats lined up so that way it would match the music with Alesso and David Guetta, adjusted the colors, and then I was like, gosh, this is not perfect yet. I want to replace this reel with Jenny at Blackpink instead of, I think it was Tiesto or something like that. So literally it took me 2 hours before I got that video out. So that was the question, like, how much time do you spend per week? 2 hours. That's the problem that I have with social media. Everything has to be perfect. So my answer to this, Michael Hudson. He does all my social media. Literally, I don't think about it. He just tells me what to talk about. And I just go through him 2 hours a week. And you guys see my reels. Literally every single day, I'm posting consistently every single day. My follower base is going up. And I think the followers, I kind of browse through their profiles. They're actual clients. They're pharmacists, clinicians. A lot of them are realtors, lenders. And I was saying earlier, 8 out of 10 of those clients are from my Instagram. So it's really, really cool to see how the conversion rate's working. And, I attribute a lot of that time that I'm saving to Michael because he's doing all the content for me. So definitely some pros there. Next question I have, we're actually ahead of schedule, which is pretty cool. What is one thing you wish you knew when you first started using social media for your business?
That's a tough question. One thing that I wish I knew.
So that's kind of a question that I have for you, Benson, is how did you tap into the luxury arena? Anytime I think of Benson, I think of Ferraris, Lambos, $3 million listings off of Province Court and Camas. Like, this is the Benson Bowie. What would you do differently starting from the get-go?
So I felt like the reason I did so well when I first started social media was I was thinking outside the box. I was being creative. Like during that time when I first started doing social media, no one was really doing it. Like video wasn't a big thing. Social media wasn't a big thing. And I was partnered up with my team lead, Matthew, and we were just at a house, a super nice house. And he's always been into the video. And I was there and he was like, do you want to shoot a video? And I was like, maybe house tours is the way to go. And, I don't see a lot of that, but I see a lot of, realtors down in Texas, Florida, they're all doing it. But here in Oregon, like, no one was really doing that. So I decided to do it, and it went pretty viral. And the thing that really helped me was everyone that shared. So I feel like if you're thinking outside the box and you got a good community that's constantly supporting you, that's gonna go a long ways. And I feel like always try to be creative, always try to find something new. Because if you keep doing what everyone else is doing, you're just gonna be like everyone else. So if you want to stand out, be more personable, then be yourself, but also try to be something new. Like Joe's out here, providing a lot of value, but he's also being really creative. So I think that's super important.
So thank you, Benson. And also, can somebody grab our panelists some water? By chance, I know up here we're kind of dying over, so we get some water for our panelists. Thank you. Michael, what is one thing you wish you knew when you first started using social media for your business?
One thing I wish I knew was, I would probably say focusing on the vanity metrics. So a lot of people are just like, oh, dude, I want to get like 20 million followers in like 48 hours, or I want to get like 200,000 views per video. I think when you go into with the mindset of, dude, this may not even work out. Like, you may pump videos every single day, and you just don't have the expectation of like going viral with every video, but you just focus on the person on the other side of the camera. If you just continually just have that focus, you're going to be unstoppable, because you're not going to focus on, oh man, I'm going to try and get like a lot of views and like a lot of like make my grid look extra pretty and stuff like that. You're just going to focus on providing value to that person. And so that's something that, we preach, is just like, you want to make your focus as singular as possible. Like you're just having a coffee with a prospect, talking about your craft. And so, yeah, to answer your question, I think something I wish I knew was to be like a lot more laser focused on who I was talking to, and worry less about trying to go viral with every single video that you post.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
A couple things. So first is know your pillars, right? Know your 3 pillars. If you have to start with 1, 2, or 3. Just stick with your pillars. Don't sorry. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Okay. So know your 3 pillars, okay? So what are your 3 pillars, okay? Open house, cold calling, social media. Just know who you are and what you love to do, okay? Know your 3 pillars and then hyper focus on that. Just hit it hard. Don't worry about what other people are thinking, okay? Think about the other person on the other end. If they think about you and they're confused of who you are, then they're not going to do business with you. If I think of you and I'm confused, I'm not calling you. Are you a flipper? Are you doing open house? Are you a mom? It's very confusing, right? So like for me, when I started flipping, I started surrounding myself with flippers. So I would go and watch them flip houses, and then I would record the flip, and I would ask them questions, and I would meet hard money lenders, and I would dive deep into it, and I was like, I'm gonna walk the off-market property. I'm gonna go look at this rehab. Like, I'm gonna go door knock this. Like, look at this house. Looks like someone died here. You know, it's just like constant, right? And then all of a sudden, like people calling me like, hey Ty, I have a deal for you. Want to buy it? And then so I was like, yeah, I want to buy it. And then that's when I started getting deals and I started flipping houses. So you gotta get your mind right to get your grind right. That's what Izzy always says. Izzy's my business partner over here. Say hi, Izzy.
Izzy, could you raise your hand, please?
Izzy, say hi.
Izzy
Yes.
is Ty's partner.
He's my business partner in Seattle. He always says that. You gotta get your mind right to get your grind right.
I like it.
And so, you know, you gotta be like very intentional. And if you've never flipped a property before, go meet people that are doing it. And it's like, hey, can I walk your site? Can I see what you're doing? Everybody has an ego. They want flowers. They want you to go showcase their property. They want, you to, blast their shit so they can look good. It's normal. So go out there and say, hey, can I go look at your property? Network. And that's how I got my first flip. And then I made no money. Okay, 0 money during COVID. Lost, threw it away. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get another one. And I kept getting another one. And the best flip I've ever did, I made $362,000. Because I never gave up. And I hung around with people who did that. You gotta get super intentional. Like today, before I flew here, I did an open house panel, okay? Check this out. One of the girls on the open house panel, 1.5 years in the business, did 1,004 open house. Wow. Who here has done 1,000 open house in 1.5 years?
Johnny, how many open houses this year?
Johnny.
I do like 50 a year.
Exactly. So you gotta get dialed in. You gotta have your super cape on, and you gotta go hard if you wanna stand out. Because 20% of the agents do 80% of the business. So where do you want to sit in that, right?
Annie in Seattle?
No, this is Tifa. Annie did 55 in 44 days.
Wow.
Very impressive as well.
And then also, Ty, you were saying for Tifa, when she did all those open houses, her first listing was how much?
So her first deal she wrote from her open house was 1.6 million. And she did open house back to back for 3 months straight. So she would go do open house for 2 hours, took an hour break, did another open house for another hour or 2 hours, took an hour break and did another one for 2 hours and took an hour break. And she did it 5 days a week, every single week. Wow. So if you're saying you go hard, I don't know if you guys are going hard, right? So look at yourself, and I coach a lot of agents, right? And I was like, how much do you think you're worth, right? So I asked you, I was like, how much do you think you're worth? And you say $500,000. I was like, will you write me $500,000 for what you do? Probably not, right? So really think about that, because there are people who are putting in the effort and they're getting the results. You just have to get over your self-pity. It's like, oh, no one's coming. I'm working so hard. I'm doing open house and no one's showing up, right? So you got to get out of that mindset. You got to go hard, because no one's paying your bills. So, I don't know. I'm off on a tangent. Sorry. But going back, you really need to find your pillars. You have to go hard at what you believe that you really want. When I wanted to, 20 years in the business or 19 years in the business, I wanted to start flipping. because I was tired of leaving my children at 5, going to a listing appointment at 7. I was so tired of it, right? And so I was like, if I can just flip 2 houses a year and make 400,000 or 200,000, I'm Gucci. And then I'll just sell like 5 or 10 houses and I'll make $500,000. That's like was my goal. And so I wrote it down. I was like, okay, how many flips do I have to do? And what's the minimum amount I want to make per flip to be able to hit my number? And so I was laser focused on it. So every year I flipped 4 houses, 1 a quarter. And I won't take a flip unless I made $90,000 after all costs. Right? So I like became really intentional. So you gotta be really intentional. Don't chase other people's dream, chase your dream. Okay, sorry.
Every answer is so empowering from Ty here. I love it. So much firepower over here. Okay, next question we have is, so Benson, obviously you have a lot of great engagement online. I'm always commenting on your videos, your reels. How do you build that trust and engagement with your audience? What is your secret sauce?
My secret sauce is, first, I like to draw them in through entertainment. Like, I like to show nice houses. I like to show my lifestyle, do all that type of stuff. And then the way I kind of engage with them is through the DMs, through the comments. But in reality, it's through building good relationships. Like what I was mentioning earlier, the whole reason why, like, to be honest, like, I don't really like social media. Like, if I didn't have to do social media, I wouldn't do it. But it's required now to, you know, really help your business. And the reason why I want to do it is because I got to figure out my why. And my why is I want to help people and I want to build relationships. So that is kind of my motto, and that's why I do it. That's why I post so much. And at the end of the day, it's just to build that good engagement, is to build that relationship with them personally. Like, I go out to lunch, I go out to a lot of events, and I'm constantly always talking to people through the DM. So that's how I stay engaged with everyone.
Yeah, and just to build on top of that question, because I know you have a whole bunch of followers, and I'm sure they're commenting on your reels, and they're DMing you, they're text messaging you. What's your system that you're utilizing in order to respond to everybody? I'll send you a message, oh dude, this house is so cool. 2 hours later, you're messaging back, and I'm sure 1,000 other people are messaging you too. What's your system for that? I like to spend time with my family too. So like, I try not to just have social media be my whole life, but I like to time block, and I know these are people, that, I should get back to. So I find time during the day just to get back to them. So that's how I just do it. Are you utilizing any type of AI to respond to your commenters, anything like that?
No, the thing about me is I like to do a lot of things myself, and I like to utilize AI for ideas. But other than that, I come up with, the videos I like. I like to shoot my video. I like to edit them a certain way. I'm very personable I'm very hands-on on my page, and that's the way my page is. And I like to be the person behind my social media.
Right, and that definitely grows into your authenticity side. So I appreciate you sharing that with the audience. Very cool. So Michael, you as well, you get great engagement online. How do you build that trust and engagement with your audience?
It's just going a little deeper what Betsy is saying. It's like responding to comments and DMs. That's like the most overlooked thing that creators don't pay attention to, because you're leaving tons of money on the table, especially the leads that are reaching out. So like, for me, I'm kind of opposite. Like, I'm constantly checking my social media all the time, especially like scouring like the inboxes, especially like the requested, because what happens is like when someone you're not following is following you and sends you a message, it automatically goes into that requested box. So it's often overlooked all the time. So what I like to do is not only respond to every comment, but whenever I have a new follower, I'll send them a quick DM to thank them for following me. And you have no idea like how much that means to somebody when they get that message, especially if it's like a video or audio. You're just like, oh, dude, you're real. Like you sent me this message. So yeah, I mean, definitely utilizing the comments and DMs is huge in building like rapport with your followers.
Great answer. Great answer.
What was the question again?
So I know I'm perusing through your social media as well, your Instagram, your Facebook, and you do a lot of amazing things with 10X It, right? So it's similar to like Grant Cardone's 10X, but what Ty's doing in Seattle is she actually has a Facebook group where a lot of her followers, like how many followers, like 5,000 followers or something like that?
We're close to 10,000.
10,000 followers. And they are dropping deals in this Facebook group. So Bellevue, Issaquah, everywhere in there. So it's just a way it's a page to network and also to share deals with each other. Lenders are in there. So it's really a great interaction. So what strategies are you utilizing in order to build more engagement and trust with those members and with the audience?
Yeah, during COVID, the girls and I got together, and Frances, who is also ARIA vice president in Seattle, she's one of my best friends ever since like elementary, and I call her my work wife because we flip together. Alicia, she does hard money, and then I do real estate. So we came together and we're like, gosh, people ask us the same question over and over again. And I'm getting tired of answering it, or sometimes we don't know. So we'll have to find someone to answer those questions for them. So we're like, why don't we create a Facebook off-market kind of like investment group? And so we came up with 10X Real Estate. And we had our first meetup after COVID at Barron's in Bellevue. And literally, there was a line out the door. It was like,
I was there. Yeah, I was there. I showed up for that. Stephen was there. I think
Stephen was there.
Yeah.
And it was so packed. I was sweating. It was so packed. And the amount of people in there were just thirsty for information, hungry to get support, learn from each other. Proximity is power, right? So getting close to people who are flipping. Our tax account was there because our tax account also flips. And I sell a lot of his properties. And so when I have a property, I send it to him and then I get the list back. So things like that. So we brought all these people together, and it just created so much credibility for us. So when someone in the group had an off-market deal, believe it, they'll send it to us first. And then the girls and I get first dibs. Right? And then we'll like, oh, okay, so-and-so may be interested because they live in this area. Or that has a dadu potential. This guy builds dadu, and we'll start sending them to different people. So we just picked up a flip, 265 in Tequila, and it's closing at almost 500,000. And we only put in about like 65,000 into it, and we're closing in a few, like probably next week, and then I'll be looking for another flip. So I don't have to go show homes on a Sunday, because I don't flip houses on Sundays. So I just found things that work for me because I paid my dues. I did the open house. I was wobbling pregnant doing open house. I paid my dues. Okay, so now I'm on a different season, a different chapter, but just finding your lane. So I think Facebook group creates credibility. And also, the things that I put out is very positive. One, I never talk about religion. Two, I never talk about politics. I never will post either a Trump or Biden post because that's my personal opinion. I don't need to throw it out there. And then I never judge people for what they say. Like if someone puts out something and I'm like, oh, that's so stupid, but I won't comment on it. I'll just hold back because you don't win when you say mean things.
Yeah.
We all lose, right? And so when I see people just spending the whole time just bashing and like making rude comments on Facebook and Instagram, I'm like, what's the use? So stay away from those things, right? And so that's kind of how my mindset is just stay away from those things and stay positive and be a light to other people. And that's how you stay. I think that's how you build trust, because trust takes a lifetime to build and a second to break. Remember that. And don't ever think about money over value. I almost lost a $100,000 check on one of my best friend's house. One of the agent that was a buyer's agent waived the earnest money and released $100,000, and we didn't get the house.
No.
And I was ready to write my friend a check for 100,000 to make it right. But I fixed it. Because it was, for me, it wasn't about the money. It was the value in my relationship with her. And I told her I'd write you a check tomorrow to make sure our relationship's right. So remember that. Remember, if an agent's gonna nitpick you on a few $100 or $1,000, just let that shit go and write it. Move on. Don't fight it. Because bad energy brings bad energy.
That's so many situations where I felt that way too is, you know, you're trying to advocate for your client as best as you can, and you're trying your best in order to make sure they're protected, right? Because as your agent, you want to protect their earnest money as much as possible. And there's situations where it just makes more sense to let it go, take care of your client, because trust is everything, 100%. So that pretty much concludes our questions. Any final comments or messages from our panelists here, Benson, Michael, Ty?
Yeah, I would say, if you're still like on the fence of filming content, say that you're brand new, you're thinking about getting started. Maybe you bought the camera, but you haven't like took it out of the box yet, or you're just on the fence. Just press record and do it. Like, dude, I'm telling you, like, your 10 years later self is gonna thank you starting today. Like, that's just what's gonna happen. And it's gonna be one of those things where it's like going to the gym, right? When you're trying to lose weight, you hate going, but once you go, you're like, oh man, I'm glad I went. It's the same thing with content. It's the same with Ty all the time. She's like, dude, I don't feel like filming today, but after we're done, she's like, oh, I'm glad we did it. So it's the same thing. So if you're on the fence, just do it. Just press record.
Holy cow. And just to interrupting a little bit, just to resonate with that, like one of my guys, Law, right? So we were in Denver at a concert, and I was like, dude, Law, like he was commenting on my Instagram. I was like, dude, you put out some pretty cool stuff. And I was like, Law, why don't you get in front of the camera? He's like, no, dude, I'm shy. I don't want to do it. So I was like, all right, man, I'm going to make you super comfortable. How are we going to do this? What's your favorite thing? Cambodians like spicy food, of course. So this was the birth of our little reels that we do, hot deals and spicy meals. Yeah. So we jumped to my boy Jay's restaurant, doing sushi. We went up to Seattle and had a great weekend. And like, this guy's a natural on camera. Find out what it is that makes you comfortable. Maybe eating, or, you have a certain hobby, you're doing origami, you're talking about real estate, whatever it is that makes you feel natural in your element. And just hit that post button. It's so much, for me too, everything's gotta be so perfect. In actuality, the minute you hit post, everybody sees it. And everybody will resonate with you in some type of way, shape, or form. Like, these two guys are natural in their element. Chris and Law. Just hit that post button and do it. That's what's important. Nobody cares. Yep, just do it, baby.
Yeah, I echo that. Do what makes you feel good. Like, I love being a mom. I love my beautiful children. I'm obsessed with my kids. So I blog about my kids all the time.
They must still be young then, right? Because my kids will not go on camera anymore.
Oh no, they better move out if they don't do what I say. My daughter's 16. She's driving. No, my daughter's 16. She loves to golf. She does tournaments and things like that. My son does too. And then I have a little 7-year-old, and she's a crack up. So I just video them all the time because I'm so passionate about them. I love them. And then the other one is I'm passionate about my team and the things that they do. Like, when they win, I'm so proud of them. So I want to get them on video and things like that. So, just post about what you love. And a key thing that you guys may not think about is that if you post someone else's just listed, just sold, the consumer does not know it's not yours. Right? So when you see like listings that you really like and it's so amazing, just repost it. Just like, post a listing. And then they're like, oh damn, she's doing a lot of deals. They don't know. They don't know what we know. So you think like, oh, that's not my listing. That's kind of like weird to post someone else's listing. It's not. Because it's on Redfin and Zillow. Just repost that shit. Keep posting, and then they're gonna think that you sold a lot of houses. Who cares? So get out of your head.
Benson, can I post your souls?
Yes. Yes, do a collab with Benson.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna come down here and do a collab with him.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure.
So yeah, there's just so much opportunity with social media. I mean, without social media, I wouldn't be where I would be today. I wouldn't have the opportunity to list all this house. I wouldn't have the opportunity to meet all you guys, and I wouldn't have the opportunity to be on the panel. And then just really know your reason why you're doing all this. Because if you think about it, don't worry about the view count. Because right now we have about 60 people in front. When you guys are worried about, oh, I'm not getting 1,000 views, just think about how many people you're talking to in front. So,
Yeah.
just,
Not about you.
yeah.
It's not about you. Just remember that.
Just stay consistent. There's a lot of opportunity with social media, and don't try to overdo it. Like, don't overthink it. Just keep it super simple.
Solid advice. Can we get a round of applause for our panelists, Benson, Michael, and Ty? Thank you so much.